If you are even faintly in the Pokemon community, chances are you've heard of a Pokemon manga and that it's supposedly super edgy. And it is sometimes, but man, it hurts to see it be dismissed as off-putting or just a bizarre take on the franchise, because it really is so much more than that. We will likely never get an anime adaptation of it, which I feel is a real shame. Fortunately, in 2013, a ROM hack was made in the spirit of the manga. 'Twas so happy my kidneys grew back, and I played the shit out of it. And because about 20 minutes ago I discovered a volume 2 is in the making, and the Unbound video didn't do too bad, I invite you to experience Pokémon Adventures Red Chapter. Pokémon Adventures is your classic Pokémon story. You know, beating the gyms, fighting zombies, multiple corrupt gym leaders, taking on unstable fusion Pokémon, sex pervert old men. Yeah, no, there are slight deviances from the classic Red and Blue story. It expands on the world in ways that the games never could. Well, for example, this is what Pallet Town looks like in-game, and this is what it looks like in the manga. Yeah, they're both back in black and white, but it's bigger. Pokédex entries, they matter now. And often we get to see how unique each Pokemon species lives their lives. In the Safari Zone chapter, Red is straight up kidnapped and brought to be mass digested as part of an evolution tradition for the Weeping Bells. It's gross, yeah, but it's cool world building. Hell, there's a whole chapter in Ruby Sapphire dedicated to two characters just pulling Pokemon facts out of their ass to push the situation in their favor. It also gives certain characters different roles, like hey, if you thought Sabrina was hot before, oh, hey, buddy, she evil now. Now this review is more meant to be focused on the game rather than the manga, so let's break down my scoring system again. 1. Graphics. This pertains to sprites, textures, buildings, resolution. Number 2. Region design. How it all connects and cohesive the cities are and how much sense Pokemon habitats make. 3. Gyms. How creative or challenging the battles are and this extends to trainer battles in general. Custom content. This includes new Pokemon, Fakeamon, OST, all that jazz. Number 5. Quality of life and special features. Self-explanatory, I'm sure. 6. Story. I'm talking coherentness, engagement, twists, and of course, soul. Right on then, graphics. We've got double the pixels, double the regions, and quadruple the file size, all for the low price of free. I am a huge fan of the grass spreads in this game. Player characters and all the NPCs have been updated to get a DS-style look, and they're all pretty stylish. Updating the Pokemon sprites is a no-brainer as well, and that's always nice. Now, see, DS graphics are pretty much the norm nowadays, but in 2017, still quite unorthodox. Now, something especially noteworthy were the Pokemon icon sprites. I'm not exactly sure how to explain it, but he used the correct one. Now, this is some goddamn witchcraft, because not even Skelly could figure this shit out, boys. A bit of a spoiler for later in the game, but there are a lot of Pokemon, and all of their sprites are satisfactory at worst to delicious at best. I think graphics deserve a very respectable 8 out of 10. And while we're on the topic of Fakeamon, let's just switch around the order a little bit. Custom content. The Fakeamon. My brother in Christ, the Fakeamon. A lot of them show up in other Pokemon media, such as the ancient schmucks from the anime, or you know, those little clones of the starters from that from those Mewtwo movies. Then again, some are completely original, like Gun, Fallen, and Young Sheldon. And Athostat was doing regional forms way before Sun and Moon ever came out. You cannot fact check me on this because all those downloads are gone now. Oh Jesus, embrace me. That Water Arcanine, it's so sleek, man. Is it a pun to call design metal if Kanto itself hasn't changed much other than the addition of a tiny bit of OC? From the creator, it's the gorgeous flowers of Floral City. Now, if Celadon is what Detroit is to the Pokemon universe, then Floral City is Minnesota. And much like Minnesota, the residents are insufferable. Wait, I didn't mention this before, but there's not 1, not 2, but 4 separate regions you'll visit during the course of the game. Numbers alone make that a win. Speaking of numbers, 100 megabyte document with the detailed lore of Adventure Red Chapter. Now, to my knowledge, there aren't actually any original tracks composed for this game, but he did insert some custom ones from Final Fantasy, so I'll give it a 1 in that regard. Also, technically 60% of the story is original, but I'm counting it in its separate segment regardless. 8 out of 10 for custom content.
I'm in the mood to talk about story right now. Well, Adventure Red is more or less mirrored from the original manga up until part 1. And that's where a completely original story takes place, and honestly, kinda dig it too. Maybe because it's like the Star Wars prequels, you know, and even if it is, or might be, garbage, I can't help but enjoy it, man, due to the age that I stumbled upon it. Now, Kanto is what we're talking about today. There's your rivalry with Blue and eventually Green, the rocket takeover of Kanto, and on your journey, it's up to you to attempt to find out what it means to be a Pokemon trainer. No, not be the best that ever was or some chosen one bullshit, just a person who lives amongst, fights for, and cares for their Pokemon. And along the way, clash with people who challenge those ideals or have fallen away from them entirely. Despite me having read the manga beforehand, the story's still fresh in this despite having read the manga beforehand, this is still fresh because of its new medium keeping me nice and invested. Honestly, Blade being an ex-rocket scientist who slowly let go of his morals in the endless pursuit of knowledge, that's cool, and I wish that was canon. Now, best of all, you could have little to no knowledge of Pokemon lore or anything, and you could still enjoy the story of Pokémon Adventures. A very prestigious 9 out of 10. I'm not sure whether to count this in story because you could go the whole game without knowing any of this, but I think Atherstode's failing is that he's a little too ambitious for his own good, and maybe he doesn't have, and forgive my blasphemy, a terrific storytelling ability. Now, I love a good cosmic epic as much as the next bloke, but his is really confusing and needlessly complicated. A lot of things just don't feel scaled well enough. You're telling me Heatran had more of an impact on the world than Groudon did? I understand Heatran's role has been changed a little bit to represent the core of the Earth, but like, it doesn't sit right with me. Hey, Atherstode, if you ever come across this video, if you could explain the thought or creation process behind lore too, that would be just the nicest thing. Now, region design. Well, not only has the region gotten a facelift, it's gotten a full-on reconstructive surgery. And almost every town has been expanded to be like around like twice as large, and Cinnabar Island feels like an island now. Hot damn. I can't praise it too hard, obviously, because it's just Heart Gold Soul Silver tile sets being imported. But the layouts are nothing alike, so whoop-diddy-doo. Even if you somehow never played the Kanto games, it's still pretty easy and understandable to navigate. What's also excellent is the allowance of exploration without consequence, thanks to this old man in his Abra teleporting you to key points at the map. You know, you want to come back to an area later, but then it's like, oh no, what if it takes too long to backtrack? Oh, no, the HMO2 fly anymore. Another aspect of region design is the selection of Pokemon available in the routes and lakes and the you know, because ROM hacks are an opportunity to make teams that you normally wouldn't be able to in vanilla Pokemon games, i.e. Riolu being an early game mon and Unbound. Poliwhirl being the starter in this game is pretty cool, and it's not like you're stuck with him or this team. My entire Orange Islands team included a Betamon, RNG, and Metagross, and Gun. I'm going off topic. Pokemon up until the Orange Islands is basically vanilla Kanto, except you can get all the EV types, so that's pretty good. Again, a lot of new areas exist to flush out the world and make it exist outside your nonsense magic animal quest. Floral City, 2 completely optional routes, that graveyard at the side of the road, 7 out of 10. Now, quality of life and special features. It's really just checking stuff off of a list. Running indoors, check. Reusable TMs, always a pleasure. Proper Mega Evolutions, free complete Fire Red upgrade. Impressive. That's really impressive. Now here's a real humdinger. A side quest system. Absolutely zammed. There aren't any ways to streamline EV training. Plus breeding and the daycare center in general is completely broken. So that's a bit of a shame. Ooh, some mods actually have been buffed with new moves and abilities. For example, your Pikachu has speed boost now, while your Venusaur has the most broken fucking grass move to ever exist. Now, the physical special split in of itself counts as a buff in Gen 3, if you think about it. Oh, here's something I don't really like though. The type chart controversies. You see, to balance out the types, Atherstode decided to change effectiveness a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean Ice is now the premier type in the entire game. See, some things like grass no longer being resisted by flying, that's okay. But Ice being super effective on everything is absurd because because that doesn't change the fundamental problem either. Because ice is nowhere near defensive, and a lot of ice mods are meant to be tanky. But the thing is, when ice is, oh my god, why is ice strong against Fairy Athostode? That doesn't make any sense. Why did you make Psychic weaker, Athostode? Why is ice strong against fighting? Something that I really like actually is their side quest system. Again, very novel at the time for a ROM hack. Really breaks up the pacing. That way we aren't just doing an endless storyline of shit slathery.
Off the top of my head, the ones that I enjoyed, there was the Voodoo Doll one, the Cat of Bounty, a whole recreation of the first Pokemon movie, and this one about this Rocket Grunts family. It gets a lot more bitter when you realize it's implied. This happens a lot.
After the events at South, we do track down their wife, and, well, the choice you make from there impacts a life. See, that's what I strangely like in games. It's cliched, it's derivative, and it ultimately doesn't change the story in any meaningful way, but the idea that the little pixelated people running around everywhere have, well, lives and things they're doing that make a game feel, well, alive. Bonus chapters are a reminder that a whole world exists outside of the silly little narrative constructed by the author. I play a lot of ROM hacks, and a lot of them just make the whole game about one storyline that you follow from beginning to end, and then wow, game's over. I think it suffices in terms of convenience, and its bonus chapters are a really good addition. 9 out of 10.
Devastation.
Every gym battle follows the traditional Pokemon experience. The first two aren't really creative, then slightly increased difficulty, which doesn't matter at all because we have a Poliwhirl and a speed boost Pikachu. But from here on, literally none of them are a conventional gym battle. We push Lieutenant Sturge off the SSN, we hunt down a bioweapon for Erika's approval, beating Koga and Sabrina into submission, rescue and fight Moltres with Blaine, and finally a showdown with Giovanni in the Viridian Forest, where we of course use Pikachu to electrocute his ground types. It just wouldn't be an official Pokemon media without it. It's still satisfying in this game because you most of the time overcame a reasonably difficult challenge to get your badge, but I don't know man, there's just something special about getting the badge, directly. The battles themselves are nothing special besides of course Geodudes and Gun, but with such a departure from normal games, I am completely fine giving this a 6.5 out of 10. Trainer battles are nothing to write home about except of course the level 255 toucan. Soul. Adventure Red is messy, like downright cringe sometimes. Their method to prevent early access for Air is to put a drunk old man in the way, which is kinda funny, but like the humor, it works sometimes when it's a character that matters. But when it comes to NPCs, half the time you can't tell the intention of the joke, which in of itself isn't the intention of the joke either. It just, humor falls flat a lot of the time. Ethostode's writing and characterization, on the other hand, is decent. I like when the story cuts to when Green isn't interacting with Red, so we get to see glimpses of his base personality to, flesh him out again. I say flesh him out a lot. We fully get the person he isn't is cold, but still polite, steadily becoming more compassionate for his Pokemon, a member of r/atheism. The story is nice and fast-paced, no event overstays its welcome, and like I said, not all the humor's atrocious.
Shit, man, the more I think about it, I really liked the main characters in this game. Looker, the Pokemon Association, Red, Blue, Green, Ash, motherfucking Ketchum. Love that guy's storyline. Pokemon Adventure Red chapter is difficult for me to rationalize. This game depends on you for how it is experienced. If you're a grouch that day, its glitches, bugs, and outdated references will make your blood boil faster than in a microwave. But on others, it's honestly charming. The effort in so many aspects of it. It's so sincere. I love this game, and nothing I say will change my mind. There is sadness, absurdity, and fun. Pokemon Adventure Red chapter, 7.5 out of 10 for its soul.
And funnily enough, Pokemon Adventures Red chapter, as a whole, 7.5 out of 10. If you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing, rating 5 stars, favoriting, all that jazz. Because I will see you Tuesday, my buckaroonies. Peace.